Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Friday. Welcome to Massive Iron Live, the best part of the week, at least for me. It might be your worst nightmare. It might be the worst part of the week for you because you have to stare at my unshaven face for 90 minutes. So anyway, welcome to Massive Iron Live. Glad to have you guys here. A few things before we start. This is the longest running Q&A in the history of the lifting universe, or at least that's my claim. I think I was doing a podcast before podcasts were cool. I don't know. I don't know what you call this. I don't call it a podcast. I call it a live Q&A. I call it whatever. I'm here to help you guys. I want you to understand that's what this is all about, helping you guys. So any questions you have, do not be shy about posting them. Post as many questions as you want. I'm here to help. With that said, there's no dumb questions, no stupid questions, no questions that have been asked 1,000 times before. By all means, post up your questions. I'm here to help. So, logistically, sometimes your question doesn't go through. That's not me throttling you. That's not me blocking you. YouTube can be funny. If your question doesn't go through, try rewording your question. Sometimes YouTube randomly filters things for no reason at all. So try rewording your questions. And sometimes if your questions are too long, they won't go through. Beyond that, if your question doesn't go through, head over to Instagram at Ben the Barman. Even if you don't have a question, please connect with me on Instagram. I like to follow. Instagram's one of my favorite places to hang out because it's a little bit more positive than Facebook, at least for me. I mean, everybody I follow is usually just lifting stuff and motivational stuff. So if you're on Instagram, head over there. I post a lot of content on Instagram. So what's going on, guys? What is going on? I am ready to go. We have monster number 2 for the day. It's Friday, and I am excited to see what you guys have for me. Now, before we get started, I am trying to beef up my client base before fall hits. So if you guys are interested in help, please check out. Well, why isn't it showing? There it goes. It was a little behind. Please check out superlivingtoday.com. I have a workouts tab. You can get a ton of amazing workouts. I have something called the workout collection, which is basically like 350 pages of my workouts. I do offer coaching. I'm trying to add about 5 to 10 clients before the end of summer. I have a little bit of room, so I'm trying to add as many clients as I can right now before my training app comes out. So if you're interested in coaching, please check out the coaching tab. I coach a little bit differently than everybody else, and to the point where other coaches think I'm insane, legitimately, because I do check in Monday through Friday. I'm not going to waste a lot of your time, but once you sign up for coaching, we're going to set up a time to talk, and we're going to go over your goals, and then I'm with you. I do check-ins Monday through Friday, so I like to stay in your flow, your rhythm, your pattern, and I feel that's a better way for me to coach. If this sounds like a good fit for you, please check out the coaching tab at superlivingtoday.com. Now, I want to talk for a minute about coaching, okay? And I'm not going to bore you with a commercial. This is not a commercial. This is about, and for any of you out there that are coaches, that are personal trainers, or any of you out there thinking about getting coaches or trainers, or just anybody that consumes this type of content, I want to give you one thing to think about. Okay, and again, this is not a commercial. I want you guys to think about this. You guys are consumers of content. I'm a consumer of content, okay? We are consuming content for what reason, okay? We might follow people because of their personality, right? But what we are really in this for is transformation, to go from point A to point B. Transformation, right? We are about transforming. We have goals, and we want to facilitate. We want to go from point A to point B. We want information that'll help us facilitate, expedite that transformation, that process. So when you are looking at like social media content, it's okay to have information, infotainment, or whatever. If you guys like that form of content, I don't need to tell you, right? If you like that, if you need some entertainment, life is stressful enough. Entertain yourselves, right? But when it comes to content, information that's put out, we need to filter it, right? Is this content made to help you transform, or is this content made to help drive views, bring eyeballs, bring dollars to the person that is putting out the content? This is an important question, because when coaches come to me, and I'm going to be starting up a service for coaches where I'm going to try to help them. The whole point of helping coaches and trainers is to allow you guys to get better results. That's what this is all about, right? That's what this is all about. So I'm going to be working on a service where I'm working with trainers and coaches to help them improve that process so they help you. But one of the questions I ask them is, what are you selling? Right? I sell time, I sell blocks, I sell packages. Like, no, what are you selling? It's a trick question. You are selling transformation, right? You are selling assistance to help people facilitate their goals to go from point A to point B. We are in the business of not selling time to blocks, right? Any monkey can do that. We are in the business of helping people transform, right? This is not about us. We have a method, right? But this is about transformation. And thanks for listening into my ramble, because everything I do here is about your transformation. And I want you guys to feel free to post questions on anything that helps you reach your goals. All right, let's get into things. Let me backtrack a little bit. Dumbbells and donuts. Happy Friday from Croatia to all of Team Massive. Thanks for tuning in, and safe travels. Yvonne, good morning, Team Massive. If you guys are interested, I have a community at teammassiveiron.com. Always looking to grow it. We have a really good community. And if you want a community which provides good support, degree of accountability, and just a good way to touch base daily with your goals, check out teammassiveiron.com. All right, a lot of these guys are from teammassiveiron.com. Talk us through something that the advanced lifter in you wish that the beginner lifter in you knew at the time. Let me get a drink and think about this. I think I did things pretty correctly the first 3 years. Indirectly, I didn't really know. I just got lucky. I pushed for progressive overload. I ate in a surplus. I didn't eat in a surplus to eat in a surplus, right? I just went off to a school cafeteria and they had food, and I went from like 155, 156 to like 185, 186 after 2.5 years. I gained 30 pounds. So I was basically bulking my first 2.5 years. It was a happy accident, right? I didn't say, hey, I'm going to start lifting and progressively overloading and bulking and build muscle, right? I got lucky. I kind of just ate and lifted. And back then, they didn't really talk about bulking. They talked about a proper muscle building diet. But I don't really think the focus was on gaining weight. So I'm never going to pretend that I was like Mr. I knew everything before everybody else did. No, I got lucky. I was obsessed with strength, not strength for strength's sake. I was controlling the weight. I was obsessing with improving over the previous week. I lived in a bodybuilding world. So I understood the value of trying to get the most out of a set as you could, right? So I got lucky as far as food and progressive overload. Everything just fell into place and I grew. And from that, I was able to learn, okay, this is what I did right. What did I really do wrong? Not a lot. And again, it was more by happenstance or luck. I didn't really get anything wrong. The only mistake, I think, the only thing I'd like to go back and do is tell myself after that 3-year period of time how to approach bulking and cutting moving forward from 1989 to now. But we all, having lived through the future, we all can see what it's like, and it's really easy to say, this is what I would have done going back. But I would have stressed to myself, don't stop lifting. Start doing these bulking and cutting cycles, right? I made great progress. I was about at 85% of my natural potential after 3 years, whatever that is, right? That's pretty darn strong. I was benching 315. Everything was going right. People had definitely noticed. But what I would have told myself at that point in time is just stay in the lifting tube. Stay with what you're doing, but start doing the bulking and cutting cycles so we can stay lean. Because what had happened indirectly is, I don't think I really talked about this a lot, but I fell into the groove or the pattern of trying to really nail my post-workout nutrition and nail my carb intake and nail my protein intake to the point where I indirectly started to overeat. I wasn't binge eating, but from about 1989, I had a period of time where I was in the military for 3 years. But from 89 to 99, that 10-year period of time, I was still lifting on and off when I was in the military, but I had to keep my weight regulated. But when I wasn't in the military, I would have a tendency to overeat. So I would eat a little bit too much. And I wasn't focused on the scale or precision bulking. And I literally, by the end of 1999, the period of 89 to 1999, I was at my strongest by far. I wasn't deadlifting at the time, so I wasn't at my strongest deadlifting wise, but my pressing was ridiculous. I was benching 430. I was doing seated dumbbell overhead presses, 120s for fives. And, there's the tongue-in-cheek, steroids, roids. This is fucking, excuse my language, 97, 99, right? There's no drugs, folks. I wouldn't even know where I was too pavo, too poor to even have them if I wanted them, and I wouldn't even know where to get them. This was 1999, some hick gym in Wisconsin, right? So when I say these numbers, there's always the fringe voices out there like steroids, just doing the stupid thing that people do. But I was at my strongest. I got my weight up to 276 around then. So I was over bulking for a long period of time. I went from 186 to 276. I gained 90 pounds. Basically, most of it after I got out of the military in 94. So in a 5-year period of time, I bulked like 90 pounds. So you're like 90 pounds in 5 years, right? That's not bad. That's 18 pounds a year. But I never did cutting cycles, right? It was just bulk, build. And at the end of the road, I was pretty darn strong. I was pretty darn big. But I was pro wrestler big. I was like 276. Let me see if I can show you guys a picture. Hold on here. I want to show you a picture of where I looked at that time, and I think it's pretty easy to find. So hold on to your pantaloons, and let me see if I can find this photo real quick. It should only take a minute. Posted by you. I'm on Facebook looking through this thing. Where are we? Posted by you. That's okay. Here it is. All right. So hold on. I'm going to show you a picture of me with my sisters and my mom around 1998. Hold on. We got her. So present, share screen, and where's Mr. Okay, so there's me, right? There's there's me. I'm about 276 pounds at the time. My sister Tracy is on the left, my mom and my sister Chris. That's where I was around 1998, about 276 pounds. I was just strong. I was like Hulk strong, the strongest I was back then. I mean, I eventually got stronger on squats and deadlifts because I hadn't really focused on them in the bodybuilding realm. But man, I was a big boy. I was a wall. And yeah, I had a little bit of gut fat, but you can see, for 276, it looked like pro wrestler big, if you know what I'm saying. So the only thing I would have really gone back and change is to tell myself to get with the cut program, dude, and don't get so far overweight. Because from there, I got married in 1999. I picked up depression issues. I'm not going to be shy about it. It's something I've talked about before. And from 1999 till basically in 10 years or longer, 15 years, I got my weight up to 346. The rest is history. You can check out my Instagram to check out my full transformation. Soy sauce banana. Lately, I've been feeling like I'm consuming too much YouTube. It's like watching the news. Feels like the world is falling apart. It is. If you watch too much, there's such a thing as overconsumption, fatigue from overconsumption. Now, I want to explain something. I don't get political, right? I'm about lifting. This is a lifting channel, and I'm not trying to get political here. I'm just going to explain a story. In around 2000 and 2004, 2005, I ran a mobile hearing unit for a hospital. So basically, I was part of their occupational health division. 4 days out of 5, I was on the road doing hearing tests at factories, for city workers, anybody that was required to get a yearly hearing test. And I was on the road 50. I was not driving 50, but from Monday through Thursday, I pulled 50 to 60, sometimes 65-hour weeks. And much of that time, I'm sitting in a van, a giant, mobile hearing unit. This is 2000 and 2004. It was, I didn't even have a cell phone back then. So all you had was the AM FM radio. Now in Wisconsin, there's like 2 FM radio stations, and they've been playing the same damn classic rock songs for like 200 years. And you're so over them, right? You're just like, I can't take the same 20 classic rock, Stairway to Heaven, she's buying. Okay, I'm over it, right? So you would start to putz around just out of boredom on AM. And there's a point to this, okay? And on AM, all there is conservative radio. I'm not getting political. There's conservative radio, and then what's the state radio? I forgot what they're called, where you have a very liberal and very conservative. But what I learned is that if you start listening to this stuff, and this is not a political statement, if you start to overconsume this stuff, you start to believe the world is a bad place. Like the world is going to crash, implode if such and such doesn't happen. Like everything is over amplified. It's not that we don't take social issues seriously, but if you're listening to political radio, you get almost immersed in this world where things get over amplified. The intensity is really dialed up. Like if this doesn't happen, the country is going to go to hell, right? No political statement. But the point I am trying to make here is that YouTube or any media that is feeding you stories can do that to you. Headlines don't sell unless they're sexy, right? Headlines drive dollars. I worked in that world. I was in content development for 10 years. My job was to get views, right? No, I didn't do it nefariously, but I had to search the best title for an article. I had to present interesting information to the audience, and we didn't do it sensationally. I never did it sensationally. It was always the best quality content. And when the people above me would want me to get sensational, I'd be like, no, I do not do that. We are feeding people the best information because that is how trust is built, right? But if you watch too much news or you watch too much YouTube, you're going to get a lot of negativity. You're going to get a lot of confusion. You're going to get a lot of chaos. And it can feel like all kinds of confusion is going on. When somebody comes to me and says they're confused, right? Or when I watch somebody that overconsumes YouTube fitness or social media fitness, I know they're going to get confused unless they are very mature in the way they handle information. So the point is, this is a natural state. I've spoken about this before, but there is value in limiting your information. It's not that you can't tune in every now and then and see what everybody's doing. I do that a couple times a month. I'll see, hey, what's Athlete X posting about? Oh, he's posting about Ozempic or whatever that stupid drug is. Like, you know, that's not my lane. I don't care about that stuff. I'm not going to do it for views, spews for views. That's what these guys are doing a little bit, right? My lane is strength and muscle building and helping you guys transform. I'm not just going to talk on topics that are out there that are low-hanging fruit that'll get me views, right? I feel that's disingenuous. But anyway, that aside, I tune in once a month. What's Greg Doucette doing? Oh, he's in a controversy about this, that, or the other thing. There's some controversy with Doucette going on. I tune in to see what Humiston's doing. I tune in to see what Basement Bodybuilding's doing and Jeffrey Verity Schofield and Bald Omni Man and those sorts of guys. And James Tiny Vest. But I don't overconsume, because overconsumption can make you confused. You have to stay in your lane when it comes to quality information sources. You get to determine who is your quality information source, okay? You get to determine that. And it's good to have people that align with your end goal. Again, this journey is about transformation, mental and physical. And if you're surrounding yourself with information that is distracting you or that is conflicting with what you know to be solid advice, it's just like a brain cancer. It'll eat away at your brain and create doubt and create confusion. So for the most part, about 90% of my content that I consume is about things that focus on the same thing I focus on, that keep me focused, not just as an individual, but as a content creator. Does that make sense? Because, I mean, occasionally when I stray out of that realm, I'll be like, who said what? And you get really like fired up and I want to make a video about it. But at the end of the day, you know, it's like, what is that helping anybody? Let's focus on things that'll help you guys. So I don't know. There's my ramble, and I hope that helps a little bit. Stein, how's it going, Stein? Thanks for tuning in. And Barbell Beauty from Team Massive, thanks for tuning in. Let me get a drink here. I'm getting all fired up. What are the things that distinguish the clients you have that see the best progress versus that don't achieve what they're capable of? And what behaviors or traits give you the most pleasure to see as a coach? All right, so this is a complex one, but let's think about this a little bit. Let's go back to the way I set the table today on the video and talked about transformation. You, at your core, are here to transform. You're here for information that is transformative to take you from point A to point B. And all these questions pieced together help build a bigger picture, a universe, a reality, a training reality, a mental reality, how we view the world, how we view training. As a coach, as I mentioned earlier, my job is to facilitate transformation. Okay. Whereas other coaches might have their system. Okay. And I have my system, but hear me out. This is the exercises I like. This is the split I like. This is the macro profile I like. And you might align with that. And you might use that coach's system to help you transform. The way I work things is a little bit different. I look at the big picture from the last 70 years and what are the common pillars of success. And I look at the commonalities of what creates success. And then I analyze the individual and I pull from that world to create something that's very unique for that individual that will work, but that is highly individual for that person. Okay. So that's how I approach transformation on individuals. Now, what are the things that distinguish clients that have the best progress in my world or in anybody else's world versus those that don't achieve what they're capable of? Very simple, and hear me out. There are two types of people, and we are not being critical of one side. There are two types of people. People that want the transformation and love the process. They love the process. They love the working out. They love the gym time. It's a form of therapy to a degree, or enjoyment, or they look forward to it. They like meal prepping. They like planning and preparation. They like that control. They understand that going from point A to point B, there is a system. And the people that are successful are like, yay, a system. I like working out. I'm going to use this system. I'm going to plug into this system. I'm going to meal plan. I'm going to meal prep. I'm going to get information. They like the lifestyle. Okay? So they like the process of transformation from point A to point B. Are you hearing me? Now, like, we don't like every workout, right? And some Sundays we don't like meal prep. But the people that are successful generally like the process. They don't have to be forced to go to the gym. They don't have to be forced to give me their workout reports. They don't have to be coerced to give me form videos. They don't have to be coerced or pressured to give me weekly calories. They do so, for the most part, we're all human, willingly, because they enjoy the process. Now, there are many people that enjoy the process, but that are confused by all the information, all the variables, all the stuff out there. And that's where a good coach, transformational coach, steps in and says, okay, I'm going to take the worry away from you. I'm going to take the doubt away from you. I'm going to put you on the tracks. And all you need to do is continue to enjoy the process, stay on my tracks, move forward, and you're going to see results. Now, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon, right? But the key to winning a marathon is to just keep going on the tracks. If you're off the tracks and say you're not bulking properly, or you're inconsistent with bulking, or you don't track your workouts or whatever, then you're doing stuff, but it's not focused and productive. So there are degrees here. You can have people that want to transform from A to B, but that don't know the little ins and outs, and that's what a transformative coach helps them with. Then there are folks that like training, but they don't want to do the little bits and pieces required to refine that, to turn that into productive training. Does that make sense? There are many people at your commercial gym that like training. They go there and they do the treadmill and they do the lifting, and that's good. They're taking care of themselves. Now, hear me. Some of them, many of them, maybe at least 50% of them, if I say we got to start tracking your calories so we can focus that bulk, we got to start tracking your workouts, we got to start pushing this set here for as many quality safe reps as we can so we can encourage progressive overload. So we're dialing little knobs in, we're fine-tuning things, right? Are you hearing me? There are a lot of people in your commercial gym that if you give them those tasks, they're like, nah, no, I'm out. They love lift. They love healthy eating, but they are not willing to engage a change to the lifestyle that facilitates the results they want. I can't force them as a coach. Okay? I can't. So there's one degree. You have those dedicated to lifting and fitness and nutrition that are willing to trust the process. All these people that love lifting and love nutrition, they enjoy the process to a degree. They like lifting, they like nutrition. From there, you have an A-B switch. How many of these people are willing to make some small refinement changes? I'm going to dial in my diet here. I'm going to track here. We're going to fine tune my calories here. We're going to focus on progressive overload here and maximize this set. We're going to work on feedback, right? I don't like this exercise. Is there a variation? Yes, this. Here's my form video. Let's dial in form. So you have an A-B switch of all these people that are dedicated to lifting and nutrition. And the A pool are people that are willing to refine, willing to dial in form a little bit, willing to dial in the calories a little bit, willing to maximize here and push a little bit more. And then you have the other folks who don't want to do that for whatever reason. We're not gonna speculate. We're not gonna pontificate. We're not gonna even guess because people are too complex. But that pool, that B pool, is never going to get completely where they want to go because they refuse to make those little adjustments and to stick. Okay? Then you have a wide degree of people that want the outcome. I want the Lamborghini. I want the perfect beach body. I want an 800-pound deadlift. Like they have things they want. I want a $2 million house with a bowling alley and a theater and a gardener and 2 sports cars and this, that, and the other thing. I'm not saying I want it, but I'm saying wanting and then taking action, enjoying the process are 2 other things. I have people that I've worked with, and I've done this for a long time to a degree, in-person powerlifting coaching to online coaching. Spent over 10 years, over 1,000 people total during that time. There are people that come to me, and I'm not being critical. We're just being real here for a moment. People that come to me that like, I know I should be eating better. I know I should be lifting. It's not complicated, right? We know we should be doing these things. Some people simply like sitting on the couch with the Doritos and with the brewski, and they like that lifestyle. Am I critical of them? No. You do you. You enjoy your life. Life is short. Life is tough. Life is not easy. You do you. I'm not encouraging bad habits, but the people that are sitting there that enjoy the couch time, that don't really enjoy lifting but feel pressure like they should, that don't enjoy planning but feel pressure like they should, they're never going to see good results. That's not a criticism. That's a reality. Because loving the outcome, but not loving the process, you will never succeed. So the first AB are the people that, do they love the process? Do they love healthy eating and lifting? If so, that's where the first road splits, right? And I get people come to me that don't enjoy the process. They want the end result, and I'm trying to plant seeds. My job is to plant seeds, not to judge, not to prejudge who will or won't. That is any coach that prejudges is not a good coach. Our job is to transform, and part of transformation is to plant seeds and hope they grow and to water them, right? Then you have the people that like going to the gym, that like exercising, but liking going to the gym and liking exercise is different than training specifically for body composition maximization or strength maximization. You understand what I'm saying? Are you hearing me? They are different things. One person is lifting for health and eating for health, and that's all good and well. Those are good things. But if you want the best body composition, you want more muscle mass, you want more strength, then you have to train in a specific method and be open to dialing in those things. Does that make sense? All right. Number 2, what behaviors or traits give you the most pleasure to see as a coach? The thing that gives me the most pleasure is when I have somebody and I don't know where they're at, and they surprise me. They're like, okay, I'm going to dial it in, and then they dial it in. The thing that excites me the most is when I get a new client, and they send me pictures of their meals, pictures of their workouts, pictures of their calories, right? There's hope. They're trying. They're invested. They're doing the thing. From there, we can dial in or refine. That gives me pleasure. Like when I wake up, and I see a client giving me information willingly, it gives me pleasure. We can work together. We can communicate. We can dial in. When I am reaching, hey, come on, I need your weight twice a week. Hey, come on, don't forget to send your workout reports. Hey, come on, how are your calories? Not a criticism, but if I don't see that eagerness to share information, maybe they don't like the way I coach, right? That's always a possibility. I'm not going to sit up here and say I am the greatest coach of all time and everyone will love me. I command thee, right? That's not the way it works. I'm a 55-year-old man in an industry of 25-year-old sexy screaming beach bodies, and I'm not for everybody. And I understand that. Well, what gives me pleasure is those that open themselves to the process, because then we can work together and get a lot accomplished. Big Joe B, what's going on, Joe B? Let me get another drink. I'm super thirsty today. Just tried the guillotine press on an incline. Didn't have as much chest feel as I thought. You're doing it wrong. And I say that with love. Any thoughts on this as a variation? A guillotine press, a normal bench, your arms are kind of here. Let me remove this comment. Your arms are kind of here. If you can see my elbows relative to my shoulders, about 45 degrees. You're pressing like this. You're pressing from a leverage-friendly position. A guillotine press and a barrel press, we're up more around here. So we're lowering the weight towards this area. The goal isn't depth. The goal isn't to get the bar as close to your Adam's apple as possible. Because in lifting, we like to assign arbitrary goals. Like on squats, if I'm not going ass to grass, it's not a quality squat. That's nonsense. It's arbitrary. On the guillotine press, if I'm not chopping off my head, it's not a quality. Press. Nonsense. So what you are doing on a guillotine press or a barrel press, as arms are more flared, you control the weight down and you push those elbows out away from the body and down. Right here, I can feel my chest stretch. I want you to sit here, you, all of you, elbows up. Okay? Stick your chest out. Push your elbows back. From here, my elbows are directly at the side of my shoulders. You should feel a chest stretch already. Okay? Stick the chest out. Pull the elbows back. I can feel my chest already. From there, you lower in that chest stretch position, then you press back up. Comprende? So, if you are not feeling the chest stretch, you're doing it wrong. You should be able to feel the chest stretch right here. Just sitting. Arms, elbows are right at my side of my shoulders. Stick that chest out. Pull that elbow back. We're not even anywhere near depth yet, right? But I can feel that stretch. Then we lower a few more inches. Boom. Beautiful chest feel. We're stretching that chest and then we're pressing back up. I hope that helps some. Dumbbells and donuts. How did you get into your ultra running, and what have been your favorite things about it? After I got divorced in around 2014, 10 years ago, this is not a criticism of my ex-wife. It's just her personality, and that's life, right? She was not much of an adventurer or let's get outside. And I was. When I was in the military, I was part of the night land navigation team. I was always physically active before that. So I like to be active. I like to lift. And she wasn't always someone that liked physical activity. Not a criticism. People are different. We were just two different people. So when I got divorced, I had time on my hands, and I was a recovering binge eater. I just lost 100 pounds. I did not want to spend my weekends sitting indoors playing pew, pew, pew video games. No criticism to anybody that does. Being tempted, not being active. When you have a lot of downtime, what do you naturally do? You naturally eat too much because you're sitting around on the TV. I didn't even have a TV. That's a fact. I did not get a TV till like 3 years ago. Something like that. So, anywho, I would start hiking on the weekends. I moved to South Carolina to be part of Muscle and Strength. And I started hiking. I hiked everywhere. I hiked here, there, everywhere, every trail. And then I would go away on North Carolina, northern South Carolina, in the mountains, Tennessee, wherever. I started hiking. Hike. I do a long hike on Saturday and then kind of a shorter hike more locally on Sunday. So it wasn't consuming my time. And because I was single, I had to get home and meal prep and do my laundry, right? So I would get up at the butt crack of 0 and go hiking the next day. And I hiked. And I explored. And I was having the time of my life. And I continued that when I moved to Ohio. I hiked every damn mile you can imagine. Every trail, seeking it out. Every nature preserve, seeking it out. Hike. It was to the point in Ohio where I could tell you where every tree was, where every bend was, where every secret creek was, just about. And I started to see these weirdos occasionally on a trail who'd run. I'm like, these people are nuts. There's rocks and roots and stuff. They're going to die. You're going to shoot your eye out, kid. So anyway, long story short, I met my wife about 6 years ago, give or take. And she was a runner when she was younger. And I was a runner when I was younger. In my teens, I actually earned a letter in high school for cross-country running. That's my big athletic accomplishment in high school. I was a letterman in cross-country running, of all things. Kind of weird, but true. So one day we just were bored and we're like, let's see if we can run 20 minutes. And I did. So I had spent 5-6 years hiking profusely, so to speak. And I went out and ran. I was able to run 2 miles pretty easily. I'm like, oh, okay, nice. So here's where things got wacky. Here's where the story starts. We had a friend, Sarah, and me and my wife both lost 100 pounds. Sarah lost 150. She still weighed 246. Long story short, about a week after me and my wife did that 20-minute run, Sarah posted that she did a 50-mile run in 24 hours. They just did this circle thing. And my brain's like, what? Sarah? We just had been hiking with Sarah. And while I was amazed at her transformation, she still weighed 246 pounds. And my brain is going, how the did she run 50 miles in 24 hours? Like, what? You know, your brain can't process these things. Because all the time I ran, I never really ran more than 30 minutes. I would go out and run for 30 minutes, come back home. It was just the 70s, 80s. Let's go jogging, right? So my brain's trying to process. It's like there's runs out there where people do this stuff. So I found a run in West Virginia, which was a 12-hour endurance run. I'm poking around the internet because she had done a 24-hour. So I started searching. This is where the story begins. And I find one in Cacapon. Is that how you pronounce it? West State Park. 12-hour endurance run. I'm like, let me text the wife real quick. And I'm like, what would you think about doing a 12-hour endurance run? And I was a little bit shy, right? Because I thought she would say, you're crazy. Let's just see. And I'm like, let's just see how far we can go in 12 hours. Let's just see how far we can go in 12 hours. And in my brain, I'm like, I want to do what Sarah did and see if I can, at 12 hours, I can surely run a marathon if she ran 50 miles in 24 hours. That was in my brain. So my wife's like, sure. She's probably like, he a little bit crazy, but we'll go have an adventure. We show up, and it is like, it's still to this day is one of the toughest courses to run on. You have ups and downs and this and that and rocks and stuff and elevation. It is one of the most beautiful and challenging courses to run on. So a month after running 2 miles, we go out and we attempt a 12-hour trail endurance run on one of the hardest courses still to this day I've ever ran on. And I get 5 miles in, I'm like, okay. And I get 10 miles in, and I'm like, okay. And I get 15 miles in, and I'm starting to feel it a little bit. I'm starting to feel a little bit worn down. I'm starting to feel a little bit like I was kicked in the bazookas. But also, I started looking at my watch and like, we have time to do a marathon. It's still possible. So from mile 15 to mile 20, it's progressively feeling like hell. But also, I'm picking up this emotional, like I'm starting to get emotional. Like I'm super invested. Like I'm starting to get slightly teary-eyed. My wife thinks I'm crazy. But like I can smell it, I can see it, I can feel it, I could do something. I might be able to run a trail marathon my first time out. Now, for anybody listening, you don't run nonstop. You walk uphill. You have to keep your heart rate elevated. It's not like you're running for 12 straight hours, but you run where you can. And then you have mud and you have streams and you have uphill climbs that go forever. And you're climbing over trees. And it's like an obstacle course from hell to a degree. So anyone that asks like your running time, it's not like that, right? It's like go as far as you can in 12 hours and run when you can possibly run. So we get done with 20 miles and there's a glimmer of a hope that I can finish 26. I got to do another loop because these are 5-mile loops. And then I have to go out and get that 1.2 miles and, come back, or go out 0.6, come back to make it 1.2. So I'm basically half running, half crawling the last 5 miles. Super emotional, half feeling like death, half feeling like the highest high I've ever felt. And I still remember, I'm getting emotional about it right now, getting to 25 miles and knowing I have an hour to go out 0.6 and come back so I could crawl out and come back. And we did it. And on that day, try not to cry. On that day, I did something I thought was impossible. I just put a mountain in my path, and I never thought I'd be able to do it. And it ended up being an impossibly difficult mountain. And I did it. And then I realized it's hard to repeat because a lot of things got lucky that day for whatever reason. But we committed from that point to run 10 hours a week for a local paralyzed boy for an entire year to raise money. And we did. We bought him a van. We didn't buy him a van. Donations bought him a van, to help him get around. And we were on the news 3 or 4 times, and it was this whole big thing. And during that time, that year, we were working up to a 96-hour run. And there's a documentary on this site called 96 Hours. We only got halfway through, and I'll explain why. But during that next year, I ran at least over 10 trail marathons, at least 5 50Ks, and 100K for my 52nd birthday. We ran. In one July, I attempted 3 50Ks in 4 weeks in the middle of the heat of July. We were running. I was running. And man, I love it. I absolutely love it. I love it just as much as I love lifting because it's the hardest thing I've ever done. Lifting is a long journey, right? But ultra running, it's the same thing. Like I go out and I'm 250 pounds and people are like, hey, there's a big power lifter guy. He's going to run. Right? And I get it. And then at the end of the race, I'm still going slow like a turtle. And they quit like 3 hours ago. I'm not trying to elevate myself, but that's the power that you get with ultra running. It's not about your race speed. It's about, can you fucking keep going? Right? Excuse my language. I love it because I have found that if I can just control my heart rate and just control my rate and control my electrolytes, I can keep going much longer than I ever thought. So, all right. Good morning, Big Hairy Ugly Dude. How many exercises would you recommend to do in 45 to 60 minutes? Well, you could work in some rest pause to kind of shorten the actual exercise itself, like on things that are less intense, like a lat pull down. You could maybe do a 4 bowl, which is a rest pause style with 4 mini sets, right? And then you could use that to shorten up, shave off a minute or two from that exercise. So that's one way you could shave time. But generally for 75 minutes, 75 minutes, you're looking at 6 hard exercises or 18 hard sets. If you want to shave it down there, you're probably best to start with around 12. I would do 2 sets per exercise, or 3 on some of the big hitters and 2 on some of the smaller ones. But don't hesitate to do that. If you're getting in 2 sets per exercise, it'll allow maybe for a little bit more exercise variation. Don't worry about the fact that you can't get in as much time in the gym. Worry about hard training and you'll be absolutely fine. If you need more help, just hit me up on Instagram or please join teammassiveiron.com. Barbell, Bryce. If you had to choose between doing flat dumbbell bench and just getting its answers of both, the answer is always both. The answer is do both for mass. Let me get a drink. It's kind of a joke, but here's the joke. Like, hey, man, should I do squats or leg press? For mass, the best answer is always do both for mass. Hey, man, should I do flat bench or incline flat bench for mass? Which is better? Do both. Not in the same workout. You can alternate A and B, have a workout A and a workout B. Big John Paul, 45-degree leg press versus horizontal leg press. Better is always, like, we have to look at feel. A lot of the straight horizontal presses, I don't feel like I can get deep enough. Plus, when I start, I find I'm starting deep in the hole. I don't particularly like them. If you like them, the answer is use both. Do one week and one the other. A little bit of exercise variety is good for hypertrophy. You're hitting the muscle groups just slightly different with each exercise. So if you like both, do both. Don't think of better. Better is doing both in a 2-week period of time. You're getting a more well-rounded stimulus or plan of attack on that muscle group. Can your muscles atrophy if you're training too many days a week? No. You couldn't possibly do that and recover unless it was mindless. I mean, you'd have to literally work out 8 to 10 hours a day just doing endless volume, and your body, you'd probably get injured before you'd experience any atrophy. This is a theoretical, and in the theoretical world, theoretically anything is possible if you push yourself to ridiculous extremes. But we don't live in that world, and in the world we live in, no, you can't. Can you? I do roofing and train 6 days a week. I was machining. Now, I was a machinist, and I had a very physically hard job. If you like to train 6 days a week, that's fine. If you're recovering, you're fine. If you're not seeing muscle gains and you're concerned about atrophy, there might be something wrong with your approach. It's not that your muscles are atrophying. It's that you're either not eating enough, not gaining weight, etc. So I'm not sure if there is an issue where you don't feel like you're building muscle, but if so, I'd like to dig in a little bit deeper. Big Sam. Let's say you're trying to maintain a surplus, but your activity ranges day to day. Are you better off risking a higher surplus? You have to look at what the scale does. We can't micromanage on a daily basis. That's kind of a fool's game. So what we have to do is look at what the scale is doing and follow the trend and make sure you're gaining 2 to 2.5 pounds a week. Now, small differences in activity aren't going to be game changers. One day you have 5,000 steps, one day you have 10,000. That's normal variance. If you go from one day you have 5,000 to one day you have 35,000, then on that day you might want to eat 500 more calories, right? Because that's an extreme difference. Does that make sense? On Team Massive, hey, Shelly, you said you did some meal prep this week. What types of things did you prep? I do super simple meal prep. So, I had to address one of the areas I was struggling with was dinner. I often work 10, 12, 14-hour days. And at the end of the day, I'm human like everybody else. You're like, it's 8 o'clock. And you look at it, you're like, I have to take the dogs out. I have to cook dinner. I have to take the shower. The wife's not usually home till 10 o'clock because she does dance classes and whatnot. You look at all the things you got to do, and you're like, plus I want to spend an hour watching a basketball game or a soccer game or whatever. Like, I don't feel like eating. I feel like eating. I don't feel like cooking. So I had to address that. What do I do so I continue to eat the same meals I was eating, but stop being a bitch, right? So I take ground bison and ground venison. I get this from Force of Nature Meats. I have no affiliation, but I put 5 of those in a crock pot, 5 meals, okay? And then once that was about cooked down, I added in water and 5 pouches of instant potatoes. And then you can add in whatever veg you want, diced up hopalopano, diced up green peppers, diced up onions, whatever you want into that mix. And I just stirred it. Once the meat was cooked, I just stirred it until the taters were tatified, no longer dehydrified. And then I just put it in 5 containers. That looked about the same. That's one of the things I did for dinner. I absolutely love that meal. It's super filling. I get bison, I get venison, I get taters, I get some veg. It's pretty well rounded, and it's pretty lean, so I would rather have things a little bit more leaner, 22% fat intake and more food volume. So outside of that, one thing I do as well, my meals are pretty simple, usually plain Greek yogurts and tomatoes. That's one of my snacks, or regular Greek yogurt and frozen fruit. But I also do a lot of eggs. So meal prepping with eggs, I generally just do a lot of eggs. And I don't complicate things. I just put a lot of eggs in a pan and just stir them up until I have about 4 or 5 eggs per meal. And then when I'm ready, I'll just pull that out of a container. Eggs freeze well. And I'll basically, before I go to bed, I'll pull out tomorrow some meals like my eggs, like my bison and venison potatoes. And then by the time I want that meal the next day, they're thawed out. And I just have to quickly microwave them. That's what I do. Big Sam is a row where you hold the machine dumbbell with a neutral grip needed for full back development, or is a pull down a barbell row enough? I don't like to get into this world. Like, is a minimum enough? Are 2 lifts enough? You probably need more than 2 lifts to have a more well-rounded. There's nothing that says you need a neutral grip, right? But you will definitely need more than lat pull downs and barbell rows for a well-rounded back program. Unless you're super restricted and can only work out 2 days a week. All right. Al Randall, thank you for the donation. That was very generous. Yo, Steve, attempting 315 bench on Monday. Clocking it. Wow, nice. Better get a video, man. I want to see this. Thank you for your support and motivation. Now, here's the thing, man. I want to see that video. I want to feature it next Friday on Massive Arm Live. So give me the video. However you can, YouTube unlisted, whatever. I would love to see this, my friend. So good luck. And if you need any help with structuring a warm-up protocol or whatever, just let me know. But we'd love to see it, and well done. All right, where are we at? I got lost here. Here we go. Jonathan, happy Friday. Stephen T. Massive. Apple with salt is the new pre-workout. I'm glad that works working well for you. We discussed when I was a kid, I would eat apples with a little bit of salt. And I love it. I absolutely love that snack. Love it, love it, love it. Sounds really weird, but you're getting in your electrolytes. You're getting in your salt, which is like the energy electrolyte. And you're getting in a little bit of carbotrons. Yeah, you need your electrolytes and you need some carbs in your system. That's a good way to do it. And it tastes good. It's a good thing when you're running too. You know, if you're running long distance, you could just do a little bit of apple and salted apples and you're good to go. All right, guys, we're about an hour in. Let me take a drink and re-rack. I will stay on as long as you guys have questions, so keep them rolling. I appreciate each and every one of you. Before we move forward, guys, just a reminder, I'm looking to take on some new clients. And if you want to transform, if you are ready to transform, then I would love to help. Please check out the coaching tab at superlivingtoday.com. Also, follow me on Instagram at Ben the Barman. Now, here I have tons of cool workout gear, apparel. Check out my apparel tab. I'm not trying to be an apparel company. Mostly I do them for fun, but I've got a lot of cool Massive Iron apparel over there. So check that out. And check out the workouts tab. Now, one more thing before I dive in to the rest of the questions. I'm going to be starting up a new service called an audit service. Now, I have a custom workout service where I build a custom workout, but I'm going to be doing what's called an audit, and this is going to be a video service. I'm going to send you a bunch. You're going to pay for the audit, whatever it is, $49. I'm going to keep it super cheap. You pay for the audit. I'm going to give you a bunch of questions regarding nutrition, lifting, whatever, and I'm going to go through on video all your questions, and I'm going to audit what you're doing. Say you got to change this, you got to do this, you got to do this, you're not doing this, etc. So I'm going to help you transform what you're doing now into its final form, where you can be full of glory and victory. So if you are interested in that audit service, I'm probably going to run that in about $49, just to keep it relatively cheap. But I'm going to go over on video everything that you submit. So if you're interested in being one of the first to get in on this audit service and kind of beta test it with me, if you're on Team Massive or if you're just anybody else, please head over to Instagram at Ben the Barman, and just DM me the word audit. Okay. You can do this on Team Massive, DM me audit. It's not free, Team Massive, sorry. But the price for what you get is going to be super cheap, $49. And obviously clients get this for free, but you can email me, benthebarman@gmail.com as well, but just email me audit or DM me audit if you want to get in on this service. Where are we at? Let's get rolling. Let's keep rolling. Done deal, client of mine. Wood using a wedge. It can help. Knees forward, though, is not related to heel elevation. It's a bad habit. And it's just a habit we develop over time. It's kind of a form of hesitancy. Now, sit in a chair for a moment. I want to show you something. If you can't sit in a chair now, sit in a chair later. Okay, but sit in a chair, relax your legs, your glutes. Now, clench your glutes together. Sounds funny to say. Clench your glutes together. You can feel when you do that, your knees naturally try to push open. Okay? You can feel when you clench your glutes that your knees want to open. Okay? Now push your knees in. You can't clench your glutes and push your knees in at the same time. What am I talking about? When you are squatting knees in, you're indirectly trying to push your knees together to kind of brace yourself. as you go down. This is a bad habit. You want to kind of do the opposite, push out and clench your glutes a little bit. Does that make sense? So the wedge isn't going to cure that. Big Mike M, happy Freitag. Carlton, client of mine, good morning from the road. Big Lee Dowling says, Big Steve, how's it going, Lee? Amplified Training. Please follow him on YouTube and Instagram. He's like the son. I'm like the daddy never wanted. How is the adoption for the Mark guy going? You mentioned it on Team Massive. How's the adoption for the Mark guy? Yeah, fine. I'll adopt Mark, but he has to clean my gym. How about that? Big Paul from Team Massive. What's going on, Paul? I plateaued on my lips. It's so frustrating that I'm bulking body weight is going up, but I can't progress in reps no matter what. So weight looks fine. Height looks fine. I'm going to tell you this, okay? And I'm saying this with love. There's no way you can not progress in all your lifts. You would have a physical and medical condition that would be not good. I'm not trying to sound confrontational, but this does not happen, okay? This does not happen. And I'm saying this because I care. I'm trying to help you. I'm not trying to judge you. Something else is going on here. I want you to send me your lifts now, your weight that you used on your top 10 lifts, top 10 favorite lifts, your weight sets and reps now, and your weight sets and reps 4 months ago. Has your bulk been consistent? Your calorie intake consistent? Are you doing 3 or 4 month bulks minimum? A lot of times what happens is we get impatient or expect too many reps, or we consider a plateau. I've only gained 1 or 2 reps in 2 months. I'm plateauing. I need to know more information. But I will say, and I'm saying this not to judge and not to be critical, but to tell you something is broken. Because this does not happen unless something is broken. The two things that are broken, either our diet is inconsistent, and we think it's consistent. And again, I'm not judging you. That's why I'm here to help you, to fix this. Or you are progressing. You just need somebody to say, hey, this is the rate you're progressing, and it's okay. Big Lee. Got any advice for lifting while burned out? Currently doing full body. Go have fun. Just a month. Don't put pressure on yourself. Go in the gym and do whatever. Have fun. Go do other forms of physical activity. Just go have fun for a while. Don't put pressure on yourself. Big Paul. How do you avoid being frustrated with those around you who always talk about what they need to cut or bulk, but are always practicing habits that are counterintuitive to their goals? How do you avoid being frustrated? Number one, you have to detach from expectations. What I mean is, like, have you ever done something nice for somebody, like out of the blue? Coworker, you bought them lunch. Wife, you sent her flowers. And like, coworker doesn't say thank you. The wife takes the flowers and doesn't say thank you. And you're like, what? Right? You have expectation. One of the most freeing things we can do as adults is free ourselves from expectation. Live your way. Be kind. Expect nothing. Let your kindness be its reward. Let your own lifestyle be its own reward. I live in a world where I run into a lot of people that want the end result but don't enjoy the process. Even in coaching, I run into a world, I live in a world where a small percentage of folks want to build muscle, but they will not monitor calorie intake at all, or they're super inconsistent. I do not get frustrated with them. I stay in the fight with them. I try to advise them, encourage them, educate them, and get them on the tracks. But if you're not doing that professionally like I am, you need to completely detach. Do your own thing, because you might motivate one of these guys to change. The JOSH. What angle do I record my deadlift from? It's best if you want me to look at your deadlift, or just for general assessment, from the direct side about a foot up, because we want to look at your hip position, your shoulder position. From the front doesn't really tell us a lot. Big Sam. How would you adjust training for someone averaging 6? I wouldn't do it. The only way I'm going to adjust training is if you're toast that day, then I would probably drop things to 2 sets per day, but I wouldn't adjust anything. You have to take it on a workout by workout basis. Obviously, if you're picking up cumulative fatigue from lack of sleep, you might need to change to a program that's less frequent or has less daily volume. What about averaging 4 to 5 hours of sleep? Everybody's got their own challenges, and I'm certainly not diminishing the challenges, unique challenges you have with that situation. But it all comes down to, number one, relax. Optimal is doing the most you can in a given season of life. You want to take care of yourself the best you can. Don't feel pressured to do 3 sets per exercise. Don't feel pressured to work out 4 days a week, 2 days a week of at least 2 sets per exercise, bare minimum, is going to give you value. So do what you can. Hugo Voss. Well, working night shift and sleeping 6 hours, no. The only thing that'll affect your gains is not getting in proper calories and training like a wet noodle. Thanks, Steve. You're welcome, Alan. Big Justin Jones. Good morning, big, hairy, ugly dude and Team Massive. Is it okay to do incline walking 6 days a week? Yeah, as long as you're recovering and as long as you enjoy it. Just give yourself the flexibility on any given day if you feel like a wet sack of crap, to downgrade that to 30 or 40. Do your best, but don't burden yourself to the point where it's just way too much. Con, should you use RIR as an advanced lifter? Advanced lifters train how they train. Advanced lifters have spent at least 5, 10, whatever years developing their own system. So they're going to train how they train. So there's no rule for that. I don't know any advanced lifter that use reps in reserve. They usually have a very hyper-specific program. Like meal prepping, laughs in British. I got you. Is lifting 6 days a week with 20 sets not too much is when you don't recover. I have some clients that lift 6 days a week. Some people can do it, some can't. But what I'm worried about is, are you maximizing enough sets? Are you bulking? Do you feel recovered? If so, just stay with it and look for signs that you may need more rest. I saw a YouTube video saying people over 50 should not deadlift and bench press. They might die. Your opinion. Not laughing at you, Johnny Miles. I've seen this crap before. Come on. It's an utter pile of crap. Honestly, I'd like to smack the person in the balls that says this nonsense. Just being a little facetious and lighthearted here. This is such a load of crap. It's general nonsense crap. People are not that fragile. I took up ultra running after 50. People like this is crap content. This is absolute crap content, useless. This is the confusing content. We all know this is crap, right? This is crap. Detach, unfollow, unsubscribe, and leave a comment saying, why would you post this crap? Seriously. Is lifting heavy better or high volume? That's not an either or. High volume requires progressive overload, which leads to strength training. Lifting heavy is generally implied to be lower rep work. We don't do that for hypertrophy. There's no high volume or heavy lifting is better. Use my system. Check out my book, Massive Iron. You can't do high volume without progressive overload. It's going to get heavier. So that's not even a system. Heavy lifting implies lower reps. That's not a system, right? Because we don't do that on all exercises. Justin Jones. Did you ever hear about bodybuilders getting degenerative disc disease in the neck from lifting? I have it. Doctor said it's from lifting and stop. Let's get weak. There's no value in getting weak. I'm not trying to be your doctor. If a lift bothers your discs, then stop doing that lift. I'm not trying to put you in harm's way, but getting weak has no value. That PT that says not to stop, okay, he's on the right track, but you need to balance this a little bit. I'm not a doctor, but if you get weak, there's no value in being weak, okay? But you got to take care of yourself. If a lift is bothering you or risking your health, then you have to stop doing it, like deadlifts or squats. Richard, just destroyed my triceps with skull destroyers, rocker horns. Right. Have a great weekend. You too, my friend. I'm not doing anything weird with my neck. I don't know anything about degenerating discs. I'm decaying as we speak. I'm just trying to hold the ship together. So do your research, my friend. But anybody that tells you to stop being strong or keeping the body strong, that's not a solution. That's not a solution. There are elderly people that are doing chair workouts to keep their body strong, right? There's always something we can do. Stopping, come on. Doc, what are you, Doc, what planet are you from where weakness is strength? Thoughts on replacing bench press with dips? You'd have to see the totality of the program, because a good chest building program is about 3 to 4 quality exercises per week. So it's fine as long as you have 3 to 4 quality exercises per week. I feel like I can push harder on dips safely. Well, range of that's fair, but I'm gonna play the devil's advocate. Range of motion doesn't mean mass; it just means range of motion. If you don't feel you can be safe on bench, the question is why. Again, I'm just playing the devil's advocate, because the bench is a rather safe lift. If you're using dumbbell bench, that's good. I don't care if you dip or bench, but some of the things in here we have to ask. We have to play devil's advocate. Number one, we need to understand that range of motion does not inherently equate to mass. And as you get stronger on dips, you're going to place more stress on the shoulders, and it could flip-flop. You still need to progressively overload. If you can't push hard on bench, or you don't feel they're safe, I'm just curious as to why. I'm not saying you should continue to bench. So you have dumbbell bench and you have dips in the mix. You still need at least one big hitting chest exercise, like a machine chest press, at least. And then it would be okay. thoughts on main gaining. Hold on. Stay here. Stay here. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Stay here. I got something for you. I got something for you. Hold on. Don't. Okay. Hold on. I just made a short yesterday and I posted something on Instagram. Let's pull this up. All right. Let me share the screen. Present. Share screen. This is a short called Fat Bulking or Main Gaining with Greg Doucette and Alan Bacon. Doucette.
You can't see your abs, you're fat.
Main gaining, gaintaining, plantaining.
Abdominals, you're fat.
Next up on Alan versus influencers, let's learn how to lean bulk without gaining that excess fat.
Did you hear that? Lean bulk without gaining excess fat, like it's some sort of scandal. Not that Alan here is against it. He's obviously for it, but I'm glad we have another voice of sanity.
I'm so ticked off that I'm molting.
If you're building muscle optimally, you're going to gain some body fat.
Amen.
The first study compared 5 and 15% surpluses and found the larger surplus increased rate of fat gain without additional benefits to strength and.
Yep. So no fat bulking, but we want to do a solid quality lean bulk. There's no additional benefit from getting fat. The only thing it's going to do is cut down on the amount of time you're able to bulk in the course of a year. Main gaining is a no, we don't main gain. We don't gaintain, we don't main gain. We don't try to stick to some arbitrary scale weight. That's foolish, and it's not the most efficient way. We have to do bulks and cuts, wisely devised lean bulks. That's the best way and most efficient way to build muscle. Head over to my website, Super Living Today, and check out bulking. I have a bulking PDF that explains my bulking system. It'll keep you lean and keep you building, keep you in a bulk with surplus at least 10 months out of the year. Excuse me 1 second. If you don't want to pay for it, that's fine. Everything I put on my website for a charge, I have on here for free. So head over to the main page of my YouTube channel and just search bulk. You'll get a wealth of information on the benefits of a properly devised lean bulk. 1-800-GAMBONE, Law Office. That's my jingle. I've read that ideally a trained chest should be at least 10 to 12 inches larger than a waist, and a waist should be no bigger half your height. Otherwise, you're carrying too much body fat. Yeah, there are some good ratio general advice, goals as far as the ratios. If your waist is 32, you're going to be relatively lean, especially compared to the modern world. And if your chest is 10 to 12 inches bigger than that, you're probably in a pretty good place, I would say. A 50-inch chest and a 32-inch waist is going to be pretty hard to pull off. But, yeah, that's reasonable. All these are reasonable. What would be the best way on Team Massive to have you take a quick look if our training is going good? How can we best present it for you to glance at? If I want to know if somebody's training is going good, there's a couple things I want to look at. Number one, I probably want to look at your workout reports from the last 2 weeks to get a sense of what you're doing, including reps and sets, and to see if I can comb through and say, hey, where can I spot the obvious progression structure? I also want to look at what your bulking is, where your weight has been. And from there, I also want to look at your exercise form on major lifts. Are you doing squats and deads? Are you getting enough out of them? So on and so forth. So that's what I would say. Don't hesitate to use that, guys. I went on Team Massive today, and there was one new question and no form checks yesterday. There are 230 people on Team Massive, and I didn't get one single form check on Form Check Thursday. So I don't care. I want to check your hammer curls. I want to check your lat pull downs. I'm going to tell you guys, not just Team Massive, but everybody else. that all these lifts need nuance to get the most out of them. And that's what I'm here for. And I'd love to help. So don't hesitate to use those things. I wouldn't recommend like turning it into a coaching session where you info dump everything all at the same time. But let's start combing through things. Don't hesitate. You can even DM me if you want. What can I do about shoulder pain in one arm? I'm not going to play doctor. So if it's persistent and not improving, you need to see a doctor. You really do. One thing that you can do immediately is get a bench press slingshot device for support and see if you don't want to see a doctor right away, that's your call. You're an adult. But get one for support and see if that support starts to help you feel better. How's it going? Good evening, Team Massive. Does bulking process remain the same regardless of weather, or do you need to tweak stuff according to weather? All we care about is the weather in the gym, my friend, and I mean that with all due respect. Bulking, when you bulk, how you structure bulk is going to depend on the seasons of your life. Let's say you want to stay in maintenance for a couple months of summer. That's fine, right? We don't have to adhere to, I must bulk or cut all year round like a bodybuilder because some guy on the internet said, right? If you want to have a season of your life where you're not gaining weight, not bulking, that's absolutely fine. So you can adjust bulking based on your life and your preferences. There's no right or wrong. Anybody that tries to turn this into you must always bulk when you're capable of bulking is being very dogmatic. Would you recommend switching incline for guillotine or the standard bench? If you're swapping out incline, you should be doing the standard as a replacement. Incline is kind of a supplementary lift. What I would consider doing is the standard bench and then adding in the dumbbell barrel press, which is basically a guillotine press with dumbbells, so to speak, and a neutral grip. That's what I would suggest. Horned Frog, what are your thoughts on Mark Lobliner with Tiger Fitness? I have no thoughts. I haven't talked to Mark since I left Tiger Fitness. I don't know what he's doing. I don't watch his channel. I don't know how their business is doing. For those that are tuned in, I started working with Tiger Fitness around 2015, and I did content. I was hired by Chad, the owner. I worked there for a number of years, around 5-ish, and I've been full-time coaching since, so I don't really have a clue what Mark is up to at all. It's not a dig on Mark. I don't watch anybody's videos really. Like I said earlier, there are limited videos I tune into. So I appreciate my time at Tiger Fitness, but I just, Mark's a business owner. He's on his own path with this business. I'm a business owner on my own path with my business. And, I wish him all the best. That's all I can say. So I want a slow bulk, around 2 pounds a month. Is that too slow? No, that's the lowest rate I would go, but that's absolutely fine. I would run that for a longer period of time, at least 6 months, 5-6 months. That way you can get a lot out of it. That's reasonable. How many eggs per day do you eat? I eat anywhere from 4 to 7 a day, depending on. Sometimes at dinner I will eat 7 with rice as kind of a quick meal. So we got that one already. Sorry, that was a repeat. B. Amos. Okay, we got 6 questions left, guys. So if you have any questions, get them in now. If not, I'm going to hop off. I used to eat apples with salt. Yeah, it's super underrated. Some people said that they eat watermelon with salt. I've never actually tried that, but I could see that being okay. Big Justin Jones, are squat sets of 5 too heavy during a cut? Good question. During a cut, you're going to walk into the gym some days where your glycogen levels are a little bit low, right? Your energy levels are a little bit low. A set of 5 reps is bordering on 85%. It's a little bit too intense for my liking. I'd probably keep it at 6, 7 reps at the lowest. Whatever you do, though, we're not trying to create rules. Just be smart on any given day and live to fight another day. Big Daniel White Jr. What sodium options should I take with water first thing in the morning? You can either put a little bit of shaker salt in your water. Not always the most enjoyable. There are salt, sodium tabs, electrolyte tabs, chewies, electrolyte powers like LMNT powders. They can get quite expensive. You can take like a Gatorade, sugar-free, or if you have room for a few simple carbs, you can do the regular Gatorade. Those are probably your best options. Is squat knee cave on the way up only as bad as the way down? A little bit of knee valgus or whatever they call it, knee caving on the way up is okay. It's only down where we risk a lot of hip and knee issues. So don't worry about that. I have dips as my main lift, an incline dumbbell and flat dumbbell. That's fine. You have 3 good hitters in the mix, so I can go with that. I wasted 10 years like an idiot. Hey, it happens a lot, man. At least you realize it. Until the last year when I started training properly, I feel weak. Now do you think I'll never be as strong as if I train? No, you can be fine, man. The body is still capable of amazing things. It doesn't matter what your training was like for 10 years. Because if somebody came fresh out of the gate at age 45, they could still make amazing progress. I have this happen with clients all the time. So you still have the same potential. It doesn't matter how much you screwed up. Sorry, man. You want to add guillotine press. What to swap it in for? So you want a barbell press and you want a dumbbell press in the mix. What I would do as a third lift is I would do maybe a guillotine press one week and a barrel press the next, kind of get a little bit of volume in, or just add that in as a third lift. A lot of times what I would do on the bench is I would do my bench pressing, and then I would move to guillotine press, and I used to do like 3, 4, 5 sets of 10 immediately after bench, so I didn't have to hop off the bench. I don't care for Smith squats at the gym. Good alternatives. So we start at the top of the food chain with squats. I don't know what you can or can't do, but we start with squats, maybe front squats. Then we go down the step lower to leg press, hack squats, pendulum squats, levered squats. Then we go down to lunges, Bulgarian split squats, leg extensions. And then probably bottom of the food chain is goblet squats, only because there's not a lot of room for progressive overload. Most of us could basically grab a 100-pound dumbbell and do goblet squats. I have Asian genetics and I'm skinny fat. I'm 82 kilograms and 10% body fat. I'm going to stop you. You can't be skinny fat and be 10% fat. That's super lean. So if you have belly fat, then you're at least 18%. Okay? When a man has no belly fat, and I'm just saying this for education's sake, not to sound confrontational. My goal is to educate you so we can move forward. If you have no man boob fat, no belly fat, no love handle fat, no lower back fat, you're at 18% or lower. If you have a little bit of belly fat, you're at least 18%. Does that make sense? Honestly, though, I've seen skinnier guys You're 82 kilograms, which is, let me just turn that into pounds for those keeping score at home. That's 180 pounds. What's your height? 180 pounds and 10% would be looking pretty damn good. Because bodybuilders, natural bodybuilders on stage, tend to be anywhere from 165 to 180, like at 7-8% or whatever. So you'd be in natural bodybuilding shape at 10%. So there's a good chance. I'd like to see a picture. So you could send me a picture on Instagram at the Barman. Ahmed, thank you. I appreciate it. Con, should I bulk at 18% body fat? Yeah, I mean, if you go up 10 pounds and lose 10 pounds and go up 10 pounds and lose 10 pounds and repeat that cycle, you're going to, excuse me, you're going to come in after a year being at the same weight, but a much lower body fat percentage, probably at least 13, 14. As long as mentally you're not burdened by what you see in the mirror and you're okay with gaining 10 pounds, you're fine. Last call, guys. Wanted to try seated barbell overhead. How do you recommend setup in a home gym? I would start it from a pin press position right about here. I do them in my rack. So I get under it right here because it's easier to start the first rep right here. I press up. I don't come all the way down to the pins. I just try to come to at least chin area. That's the easiest way to set up. And Scott, Boyd, I'm still fighting. That's what I want to hear. And that's the way we will end Friday. Thank you guys for watching Massive Iron Live. I'm here every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Please head over to Team Massive Iron right now and join. We'd love to have you. And if you want coaching and you're all about transforming, let's join together. I will put together a plan of attack that'll help you go from point A to point B. And I will be there with you every day of the week. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Follow me on Instagram at Ben the Barman, and we are out of here.
It's not almost over. It's not almost over. You're not almost there. You're not almost there. You're not almost there.
Just got this question. Hey, I strained my pec tendon doing close grip arch bench press 2 weeks ago. Stretch the crap. Drop the arch. Allow it to heal. Definitely deload a couple of weeks. Drop the overset up. Focus on controlling down. And don't focus on getting a big stretch at the bottom. You can lower the bar 2 to 3 inches above your chest. That's okay. That's how I bench. We want to treat the shoulders okay. So I would do that. Allow 2 to 3 weeks for it to recover. Only bench after that till about 2 to 3 inches above your chest, and send me a form video. We will check it out.
It's not almost over. It's not almost over. You're not almost there. You're not almost there. You're not almost there.